Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Al-Qadah, double wonders unto the elder apostles of great most honorable well, and shalom to the whole for elect. This is news and prophecy and news update. The date today is the 21st of June 2026. It's June, and ain't no microchip. There is no microchip, but it's coming soon. 2026, the year of apostasy, sellouts, or agents sellouts, and Jacob's trouble. All right, and we can see everything right now is compounding. All right, so I got an article because a big move's been made over here in the UK about a week ago. It has yet to be implemented as far as I'm aware. All right, but I'll read this summary and then I'll jump to the key points, and Lord willing, you'll be edified. So it's from Forbes.com. The headline reads: UK's under 16 social media ban risks digital ID expansion. All right. The main news that's gone out is that Keir Starmer made a declaration that under 16s will be banned from access to the internet or social media. Sorry. Now, it's controversial as it was. A lot of people, may see the good in it or may look at it as something that isn't. It may sound a bit harsh, but they can see the benefit in it that, children exposed to social media, and it has an adverse effect on them because of different things that's happened. And I'm sure I've said this before in the past with, speaking about the younger children that basically fell in love with AI and killed themselves and different things of that nature because there was a few of them. But basically now they have, they based upon things like that, this seems like, they're being responsible and they're taking, they're being responsible and making way for safeguards in place for the children. All right, but the reality of the situation is actually the inverse. It's actually, in order for you to determine who's actually under 16, all right, you need to basically identify the people. All right, so that means that in order for you to access social media, you're gonna have to identify yourself. And they did this already with pornography, the corn websites. And with that being done, that, obviously it was kind of laughable because a lot of people, that's one of those things where you're being outed that you watch that type of stuff. All right. And no one really, it didn't cause it as a shake up. What's coming with social media? Basically, that's like the new social currency of the day. Every like one girl I was dealing with was going back 10 years, no, not 10 years ago, maybe like yeah, just nearly 10 years ago. She thought I was a roadman, all right, or a street guy because I basically didn't deal with social media. So I saw that the tide had changed, a couple years ago, to where if you don't have social media, the way people look at you is like, oh, you're a criminal or something. It's part of socializing in this day and age. You're meant to have selfies up there, take pictures when you go on holiday, all this type of stuff. So where that's the normal, or that's become normal, a normalcy, um, for you to not have access to it, again, it's that social pressure where it's like, well, why wouldn't you identify yourself to access that? All right, but this is going in one direction to the MOTB, whereby you're not going to be able to buy or sell. All right, so I'll read the summary and then I'll jump down to the key points. So it says the UK government has announced a social media ban for under 16s, framed as a way to restore childhoods. While some children, while some child protection groups support the move, privacy advocates and child safety experts warn that the highly effective age verification could expand digital ID and surveillance beyond children. They argue the ban targets access rather than addictive platform design. And this is the thing. This is the thing with E. This is the guy's master of disaster. All right, the tender mercies of, even though in the book of Proverbs, this scripture I'm going to quote, the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. All right, it's speaking about animals. it basically, trickles over into their mindset, right? And everything they do is evil, all right? And that's why Job 9:24 tells you the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. If not, where and who is he? All right. Covereth the phases of the judges thereof. All right. But the point being is that Proverbs 16:4 tells you that the Heavenly Father basically is giving this time over to the wicked. All right. So this man is basically, it's not about the actual root cause of the problem. It's about the reaction to the problem as a means to establish a greater agenda. All right. And this is how you know he's full of shit. All right. Uh, they argue the ban targets access rather than addictive platform design. All right. And that's really exploiting the people. All right. People are addicted to social media, so they're going to do anything to get that hit. Right. There's actually a picture I have in my photo log. I'll probably, well, I'm not going to do that actually, but there's where it shows you pills, and the pills inside of the pills is different social media platforms, right? Because this is designed to keep you in a trance. While being, and in China, they show you that they don't have the same type of uh, operating systems in place, or not operating systems, but the same type of addictive platform designs in place, uh, will be bypassed by tech savvy teens and may push them towards less regulated online spaces. Yeah, delving into the deep web. All right. Set to take effect in early 2027. All right. So this is something that's coming next year. The policy is seen by many as a risk, as risking wider privacy harms under the banner of child protection. All right. So I'm going to jump down some points. So I'm going to start from here. It says the government itself has acknowledged the limitations of any ban in its June progress statement of Ofcom. Science Secretary Liz Kendall wrote, "No ban can ever be entirely watertight. Some children will inevitably seek to circumvent age restrictions. The mechanism intended to enforce this ban is what the government calls highly effective age oh my bad, highly effective age assurance. Science, Innovation and Technology Secretary Liz Kindle has tasked the regulator Ofcom, led by Dame Melanie Dawes, to assess appropriate age verification methods. Some said the government is learning from Australia's experience, arguing that the tech companies have had countless opportunities to keep children safe, yet they have failed to act. That is why we are taking power away from tech giants and putting it back in parents' hands. All right, and the reality they're not. They're putting it in their own hands so that they can regulate the system according to their own will and agenda. Right, Dame Melanie Dawes, Ofcom's chief executive, has said the regulator will assess options for highly effective age assurance that must be technically accurate, robust, reliable, and fair. This approach effectively requires people to prove their identity to participate in large parts of online life. There you go. All right. So we're seeing gradualism come into effect. All right, which we've been seeing over the, since this man has been ruling. All right, and presented this technological advancements. All right, this is really what his whole agenda is. In a nutshell, what we're seeing in this approach effectively requires people to prove their identity to participate in large parts of online life. All right, and right now everything is online. All right, the main thing that's gonna basically be life or death, the lifeblood of the society, is gonna be a digital based currency. So in order for you to have a livelihood, you're gonna have to have an I well, you're gonna need, in order for you to live, and use your money, you're gonna need to have identification to access those funds to be able to maneuver within society. And that access to your funds, that identity is gonna be go hand in hand with social access to the world. All right. That's basically going to be your pass, your digital passport to social media, to flying on airplanes, to getting a bus, to renting a property, all right, everything, or buying a property. It represents a big shift toward greater state and corporate control over digital access. All right, so they said that giving it into the hands of parents, that's a lie. It's control in their hands. Bev Turner warned that a total ban inevitably triggers facial scanning for all of us, pointing out the flaw in in the state's plan. You cannot decide whether it's a 13-year-old watching TikTok unless you also prove that it's a 30-year-old watching TikTok. She cautioned that rather than a meaningful victory for families, this decision today is creaking of a digital cage door dressed up as a welcoming velvet rope. And the best image of that is earlier this year we had King Charles basically sit up there and say that in spite of everyone petitioning against the digital ID, it's going to be put into effect. All right. And there's petitions that have been rolled out for this. And guess what? This is going to happen whether people like it or not. All right. Because it's part of a greater agenda, potentially altering the relationship between the individual, the internet, and the government. And that's why you have websites like .gov, and you have to register to access certain things in regards to your GP, the universal credit, etc., etc. Concerns over centralized identity systems. Civil liberties groups have raised concerns that forcing citizens to upload ID documents to private platforms creates some serious cybersecurity vulnerabilities. Emerging verification tools have already raised concerns about how age assurance could expand beyond children's access controls. Decentralized, uh, rep- I know that word, but I can't pronounce it.
Repositories.
Repositories, that's it. Repositories. 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 I don't think that's the right one. All right. Decentralized repositories of identity data would become attractive targets for hackers and state actors. A single breach could expose the personal data of millions of people, turning a policy sold as child protection into a serious privacy and security liability. And this is potentially what think is the the crisis waiting in the wings, or in the wings, or in the wings, should I say, whereby one day there's going to be a great hacking that's going to compromise the digital system. And then they're going to say it's a possibility where they could say, now we need to shift to implants in your body to know